Talk Live.
Welcome to episode number 17 of the Free Talk Cast, brought to you by our supporters over on Patreon. You can join that at patreon.com/LRNFM. Again, that is patreon.com/LRNFM. I do want to say thank you this week to Matt Perrialt. He's our supporter tonight, which means he's part of our Patreon supporter, as well as Damon Freeman. Damon Freeman is a higher level supporter, and that was the one I was actually looking for right now, and I didn't have it in front of me. I did, however, have Matt Perrialt. I appreciate all of the people who are subscribed to us on Patreon. Again, that's patreon.com/LRNFM. You can also find links to it at freetalkcast.com and freetalklive.com and all of that great stuff. So take a look for that because it's all there and it's supremely helpful. So I lost last week's episode, sort of. I recorded an interview with these guys who were doing this tech security conference, and I did it via Jitsi, and then I couldn't find the audio when I went to upload it. Now, we've taken 2 weeks off from the show. That wasn't intentional. I intentionally took a week off because I wanted us to get a week ahead so that I have more time to do the recording and the editing and all of that great stuff. But then I lost the audio from the recording that I did, and that caused it to be 2 weeks off. I found it last night because of the nuances of how I recorded it. I recorded the actual audio to the studio computer at the old studio at Free Talk Live, basically. I used their computer to do the actual recording, even though I was here at my house doing the actual interview.
Oh, that's super confusing.
It is. And a result of that was when I went to look for the audio here on my computer, it obviously wasn't there, and there was no trace whatsoever that I had ever even recorded this interview. Looking through my recent files in the recording software and so on, no audio whatsoever.
How is that even possible?
Well, because I recorded it on the studio computer. I didn't record it.
Yeah, but
on
how
this
is that possible?
For me to.
From here?
Oh, I have a remote connection to the studio
that does make
computer.
sense. Okay, yeah.
And it was a lot easier to go about doing it that way than it was to. I could have just rerouted some cables to make it work here, but that was the fastest and easiest way to make it happen. So that's what I did. But I found that audio last night. So we get to maintain our status as being a week ahead. I get to plug that in, and that will be uploaded this Friday at freetalkcast.com. And this episode that you and I are recording tonight will go online next Friday. And I want to make a quick announcement here. Bonnie and I have made the decision to scale back Free Talk Live, the radio show. Currently, it is airing 7 nights a week, but not really. It's really airing 4 nights a week. And this is because a little over a year ago, I went to federal prison, and that was going to create a lot more work for Ian, Bonnie, and Captain, who were doing the show at the time in my absence. The way Ian wanted to scale the show down to weekends only. Mark Edge, however, talked him out of that. And their solution was to play these remote shows that people were recording remotely and put those online multiple nights a week. Same basic effect of alleviating Ian's burden, but it required Free Talk Live to do a number of other things, and it was still allowing us to be on the air 7 nights a week. However, a year after doing that, Ian has gone to prison. I've come out of prison, and I want to focus my efforts on the Free Talk blog and Free Talk Cast and some other ideas that I have. And I find that it's very draining to use one of my days off to go to the studio and record a radio show that is 3 hours long. And it's like prime time for me to sit and chill and relax, right? 7 o'clock at night to 10 o'clock at night. That's my me time. And I only get 1 day off a week as a result of going there to do Free Talk Live. The other day, of course, is dedicated to doing Free Talk Live. And it's not fun anymore. I don't have the passion to keep doing it that I had 3 years ago when I was doing it Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday nights and still working 5 days a week.
Yeah, it's a big responsibility, and I'm not surprised that you and many other people associated with the show got completely burnt out.
A lot of people have done a lot of fantastic work to keep the show going.
Absolutely.
I want to definitely give a shout out to the people who have been doing the remote shows like Liberty at Night, Ernie Hancock and his show Declare Your Independence, Liberty Conspiracy. These have been fantastic shows, and they've been important part of Free Talk Live. They bailed us out of a really tough spot a year and a half ago. Well, a year and 3 months ago when I went to federal prison. But what we're doing right now isn't working. And the solution is either that we have to come up with 2 more remote shows, at which point we would be doing a remote show Monday through Friday and only live Saturdays and Sundays, or to drop the remote shows entirely. And we think that's the better approach. Because one, it's going to be hard to find 5 different shows that are willing to produce content every single week. It's already hard to get Ernie to actually do it because Ernie's a busy guy. And some weeks he forgets or he gets distracted or we don't get the audio in time or whatever.
Yeah, he has his own projects as well.
Yeah. These people have been fantastic and they produce really great quality content. But eventually some of them are also going to quit. People move on with their lives and be like, I don't know why I'm continuing to produce this show for Free Talk Live. It's not really bringing me any benefit. So I'm just going to back out and stop doing it. And then we'll have to find another show to replace them. So it's better if we just put an end to that now and move into the future being a Saturday and Sunday show with the podcast and stuff still going on Monday nights or not going on Monday nights. I don't know what we're going to do on Monday nights. There's all sorts of possibilities, and I've wanted to have a video show for a while, one that's actually produced to be a video show where we actually like show the shit on the screen that we're looking at and all of that fun, nifty stuff that we could do, we just haven't been doing.
Yeah.
And I want to explore that, and I think that's probably what we'll end up doing on Monday nights, but that can last an hour. It doesn't have to be a 3-hour radio show. That was another possibility we were considering, in addition to going down to weeknights only, going down to 2-hour episodes. And we may still do that, but right now that's not on the table. Right now we're just scaling it back to weekends only. And I think it's going to be a good thing because, as we mentioned, a lot of us are burned out. We only have so much time and energy to put into Free Talk Live. So right now we're having to take that energy and scatter it across 7 different nights. However, if we took that energy and focused it into 2 nights, we're going to produce better content, I think.
And it's also crazy that Ian and, all of the other hosts had been doing 7 days a week for so long. Like, that is so impressive. And I also just want to give a shout out to that and how, like, unbelievably successful Free Talk Live has been and hopefully will continue to be. But I think this is just part of the process of shedding what is not working, adapting, and, going with the flow.
You're absolutely right. Ian was actually burned out on Free Talk Live around 2019, 2020, before the raid. And before COVID-19. It was all of the government overreach that we saw as a result of COVID-19 that like reignited the passion within Ian.
Yeah, and it's, a lot of easy content, right? It's
was.
like masks, vaccines. We got so much to talk about here.
But eventually we burned out on that too. Because it was every single day. That was all the news was talking about. And that was all anyone ever wanted to talk about. Then, of course, there was the raid. And that caused us to be a bit distracted for a while, but it allowed us to focus as well because we had this. Suddenly we were enemies of the state. Like in direct terms, the state was coming after us. And that motivated us to carry on the show and to continue doing it. And that's probably why I didn't mind doing the show 3 nights a week prior to going to prison. Because that was the most important time for me to be doing it, considering the government was in literal terms coming after me to put me in a cage. And they did, and now I'm out, and I want to explore what I can do, but I don't want to back away from things that I'm doing. I'm not backing away from Free Talk Live. I love Free Talk Live. But Free Talk Live could be better, and I don't know if better is the word I want to use, but it's like you said, shedding what isn't working and focusing on what is. And that's what we plan to do. So I don't even look at it as Free Talk Live is losing nights. I look at it as we are gaining focus. And I think that's a better way of looking at it.
Yeah, I love that.
So you had an article about fluoride that you want to talk about. And this was something I had a few weeks ago, but I ended up not going. Apparently, a federal court has ruled against the Environmental Protection Agency in regard to fluoride in the drinking water. But that wasn't the story that you had. What you had seemed to be the reasons why fluoride is questionable in American drinking water.
So the EPA in California must address fluoridated water's risk to children's IQ, a U.S. judge rules. So, of course, this is something that us conspiracy theorists have known for decades. And, since the 1940s, when the Nazis started using fluoride to experiment on people because they knew it made them more obedient and effectively made them easier to control.
That's what I had always heard. I didn't know anything about the health risk. I just had heard that it made people more complacent.
Yeah, it like calcifies your pineal gland or whatever. And I don't know if that exact, I don't know if it exactly does. But I do know that the levels that are in most drinking water is absolutely toxic. It's a neurotoxin.
And this makes sense because, like, fluoride is when you get at the dentist, they tell you not to eat or drink for 30 minutes afterwards, presumably because you shouldn't be consuming fluoride.
So
right?
this is the other thing, right? So a lot of dentists, and so the whole reason, that's why they were giving it to school children. They were making them swish it. The bubblegum flavored fluoride drink and this cult-like ritual. And some kids would also get a prescription fluoride pill that they would chew and coat their teeth with. But now we're also learning that fluoride promotes tooth decay.
Really?
So I don't know if it's this I don't know if it was genuine like misinformation they didn't know. And now new data is coming out that they're finding out that what they once thought was true actually isn't true. Or it's this massive conspiracy theory where they were purposely putting it in the water to make people stupid, easier to control. And, the dentistry industry is also like, well, if it rots your teeth, that's good for us too.
I suspect, my gut instinct is that it's not malicious. It's just that human beings are fucking stupid. And we see this a lot throughout human history. Like, smoking used to be advised.
Yeah, every doctor had their favorite brand of cigarettes.
And what was the thing where they fucked with your brain? What was that called?
Oh my God, the lobotomy?
Yes, they were like drive-through lobotomies. Not really.
But okay, in their defense, the people started acting right after they did the lobotomy. It's like this person was crazy before, and now they're just sitting there.
Yeah, okay, fair. So I guess they did get some results. Like electroshock therapy also used to be widely accepted.
Fine, I won't be gay anymore, fine.
Right?
So messed up.
Humans make bad decisions in regard to health. Plus, we have this habit of undertaking these widespread social programs without giving any consideration to what the long-term consequences might be. Mm-hmm. Automobiles and gasoline are an obvious example where we burn billions of gallons of oil every single year, and all of that is pumping carcinogens into the atmosphere. And we know that for a fact. We know that gasoline causes cancer. Meanwhile, cancer rates in America continue to skyrocket. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying the two things are related because I don't know, but I'm willing to speculate that there's probably some link between how much carcinogens Americans are pumping into the atmosphere and the increased cancer rate in the United States. And we gave that no consideration. No one ever sat back and thought, what are going to be the long-term consequences if we pump a bunch of carcinogens into the atmosphere?
Yeah. Well, I'm also sure that Henry Ford never expected every single American to own one or many cars.
Also a valid point.
So anyways, this article says that a federal judge in California has ordered the U.S. Environmental Protective Agency to strengthen regulations for fluoride in drinking water, saying the compound poses an unreasonable potential risk to children at levels that are currently typical nationwide. U.S. District Judge Edward Chen in San Francisco on Tuesday sided with several advocacy groups, finding that current practice of adding fluoride to drinking water supplies to quote-unquote fight cavities presented unreasonable risks for children's developing brains.
I wasn't aware that they were adding fluoride for dental purposes. Like that was the main purpose of doing it was to...
Yep.
They couldn't just advise people to brush their teeth more?
Well, so you would assume that most people are using a fluorinated toothpaste.
Right.
Like
They're
very few
common
people,
now.
absolutely, most any mainstream toothpaste, Colgate, Crest, whatever, those all have fluoride in them. So you pretty much have to go out of your way to get a toothpaste without fluoride.
Or you have to use that charcoal stuff that like some people use.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So in addition to that, they're also putting, I'm just shocked that they would take a step like this for something so mundane as cavities when there are other solutions.
Because, and I know this is me being a conspiracy theorist, I genuinely do not believe that's the real reason. Like, that's just oh, don't worry, it's just for your teeth, it's good for you, blah, blah, blah. But they knew since the 1940s that it made people easier to control.
Yeah.
You know, there are real recorded experiments that the Nazis did that, you know, like,
I'm confused.
They've known about this.
I'm confused by this entire process, right? Because you're told not to eat or drink after the dentist brushes your teeth with fluoride. So it works simply by being on your teeth. And unless I'm mistaken, most people don't like swish the water around in their mouth as they drink it. So would fluoride, when consumed, actually have any impact on one's teeth whatsoever?
I don't think so.
I can't.
I
see
think
that
you
it
have
would.
to like get it directly on your teeth.
I mean, obviously, you're going to get some water on your teeth when you drink some, but that's very different from like swishing it around in your mouth or using it as mouthwash or whatever, or brushing your teeth with it.
Yeah, when you drink water, most of it is bypassing your teeth.
Yeah.
You know, you're usually drinking water with your mouth open.
Yeah.
So,
very strange.
Yeah.
And I don't want to get all conspiracy theory about it because I honestly don't know. It just seems odd to me that the U.S. government would undertake putting this substance in people's water supply with such flimsy evidence supporting it, and under the flimsy reason of helping people prevent cavities.
Yeah.
I didn't think the U.S. government cared about whether or not people have cavities.
So 75% of the population currently has fluoride added to their drinking water.
That's extreme. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's the case here in Winchester and Keene, New Hampshire. I don't think it's the case, but I'm not entirely sure either.
I have heard that as well, that they don't add it here. So communities add fluoride to water on a voluntary basis. So essentially, like the town can opt in or out, as I'm assuming people vote for it. And doctors and dentists recommend it because it can help protect children's teeth that have not yet broken through the gums.
Okay.
So it's... okay, so this is the question we were asking, right? So consuming it versus getting it on your teeth. So they're saying that when children have their adult teeth that still haven't broken through, like they only have their baby teeth, if you drink it, that's helping. That is so dumb. Whose teeth are rotting before they even come down?
Yeah.
I've never seen that before
possible.
in my life. I don't think it's possible. No, because how do your teeth rot? Eating sugar. I mean, malnourishment will definitely cause earlier tooth decay. But typically it's because, you know, not brushing your teeth, eating sugar, things like that. It's not because of a lack. Like, fluoride is not an essential nutrient.
Is the idea that they are basically injecting fluoride into people's teeth before their into their teeth before they're even out in the person's mouth, and that this in the long run will somehow make them stronger? Because according to that, I can't imagine it does any benefit whatsoever to people who have already lost their baby teeth.
But then I have other information that children who are receiving fluoride supplementation, like excess in addition to their toothpaste, are 25% more likely to have tooth decay.
Wow.
So that's pretty significant.
They're also likely to have a lower IQ, and this is according to the National Institutes of Health. Now, for those who don't know, that's Dr. Fauci. And the same people who did all of the COVID stuff, that's the National Institutes of Health. So you either trust them or you don't. But they have a review, and they finalized this whole review where they went over their toxicology program, looked over fluoride in drinking water, and they found that higher levels of fluoride is in fact linked to lower IQs in children. And I don't necessarily think that you should just trust everything any government agency says, but people have been warning us about the dangers of fluoride in regard to making people complacent for a very long time. It surprises me that we got this far before anything has actually been done about it.
So actually, in this study, it says that adding fluoride reduces tooth decay by 25%. So I did get that backwards. So that does make more sense of why they would want to add it.
Yeah,
But-
and reducing tooth decay, that would be a good thing, but you're also reducing IQ.
And the studies that are talking about the tooth decay are over 50 years old.
Okay.
And the IQ studies are more present day.
Right. So apparently, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention has long held the addition of fluoride in drinking water as one of the greatest public health achievements of the 20th century, paving the way for modern toothpastes and other dental projects that also use fluoride to cut the rate of dental cavities. But this is a problem, right? Because the report said more research is needed into the lower levels of fluoride exposure typically found in U.S. drinking water. The judge pointed out that there's not enough of a margin of safety at those levels. So apparently there is some range where you can have fluoride and it will strengthen your teeth. And another range that's a little bit beyond that where it will strengthen your teeth and make you dumber.
Well, and that's the crazy thing about adding it into the water supply is because you're bathing in it, you're drinking in it. People who are drinking more unfiltered water are going to get more levels of that. Whereas if somebody wants it, just give them a supplement.
Yeah,
that is possible, and that is a more controlled way to make sure you're not getting toxic levels of it, because it is absolutely possible to get toxic levels of fluoride, and I think that is where the IQ lowering effects are coming in. And I even have this that says women who had higher levels of fluoride during pregnancy said that their kids were more likely to have temper tantrums, complain of vague headaches and stomach aches, and show other neurobehavioral symptoms by age 3.
This is crazy the more I think about it. Because as you rightly point out, putting it in the drinking water is a completely uncontrolled, unmeasured delivery system.
Yeah.
Most people don't actually drink 8 ounces of water a day. But if they do, are they getting too much fluoride or too little? Is the CDC or the EPA upping the levels of fluoride in the drinking water to accommodate the people who don't drink enough water? Because I suspect they would.
Yeah.
And that's just a suspicion. I don't know anything. I don't know the numbers here. But it's impossible for them to put safe levels in for everyone when some people drink 1 glass of water a day and some people drink 8. And then a lot of people just chug monsters and crap like that all day. They're not getting their fluoride unless they drink maybe 1 glass of water. So what does the EPA do? I would imagine they increase the levels, which just makes it more dangerous for people who are drinking more water every day, especially for younger children, because the difference, the margin between safe levels and hazardous levels of fluoride, according to this judge in the study that he's citing, is way too narrow to be playing these kinds of games.
Yeah. And it's also important to consider that when we're talking about water intake, it's not only what you're drinking. If you take a bath and you sit in the bath for an hour, a lot of that water is being absorbed through your skin. Yeah. And a lot of the other things that are in the water are also being, minerals, any sort of chemical compounds in the water, that's also going to be absorbed through your skin.
I saw this directly when I was in federal prison. I've always had really moist, good skin, but in federal prison, my skin just got worse and worse, drier and drier, because I was absorbing all of this nonsense from this probably radiated water because it was built on an old military base. And obviously fluoride, chlorine, all of that crap was in the water as well. It's just horrific water. And yeah, your skin, it's designed, well, not designed, I don't want to use the word designed when I'm talking about the human body, but your skin absorbs chemicals in water.
Yeah.
It absorbs water. That's just part of what skin does. And if you're absorbing large amounts of fluoride and drinking it and getting it out of your toothpaste, then you're probably getting more than the recommended levels of fluoride. The critics of this have pointed out that fluoride toothpaste is nearly universal. As you said earlier, you can find fluoride in just about every toothpaste, and you have to go out of your way to not find it. And other countries throughout the world have cut their cavity rates without adding fluoride to their drinking water. When you combine all of this together, it really doesn't make much sense to continue to do it when we seem to know that it can make people have lower IQs, and maybe it does reduce their chance of getting cavities, but so could fluoride toothpaste, or as you rightly point out, a fluoride supplement.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't, knowing what I know about fluoride, I wouldn't consume it at all. I just feel like it's not an essential nutrient. I only have seen, and of course they have doctors and dentists that they're citing here that are like, no, it's great, it reduces tooth decay. But from my perspective, if I want to reduce tooth decay, I'm going to make sure that I have a good diet, that I have a lot of vitamin D, collagen, like the things that are going to really nourish my bones and my teeth. And I'm going to make sure I'm having very low levels of sugar. I would do the same for my children to make sure that they're not going to get cavities. Brush your teeth well. But I just don't see any purpose to consume fluoride at all. Like, I'm not risking getting dumb over eating crap food and not brushing my teeth well.
Excellent points. Avoiding sugar would be a much better way of helping people prevent cavities, I think. Because if you ever pay attention to things at the grocery store, especially the prepackaged foods, they all contain high fructose corn syrup and sugar, and mostly high fructose corn syrup, which is just a form of sugar, really. This stuff is really bad for your teeth. Germs and bacteria really like it, and they start eating it, and then they start chewing through your actual teeth, and that's what causes the cavities over time.
And pair that with the fact that most Americans are actually malnourished because all they're eating is that crap processed food, and they're not getting enough protein, they're not getting enough vitamins, they're not getting enough minerals. So once you have an overload of sugar plus no nourishment or minerals for the teeth, and your kids' teeth are going to rot out.
This is a really good example of, I want to give them the benefit of the doubt and assume that the CDC and the EPA had good intentions when they allowed this fluoride to be put into people's drinking water. I don't know that they did, because it does also make people dumber and it makes them more complacent, and that those seem like things that evil people in government would want, like just being straight up. But I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and assume that they were just genuinely trying to help people. Who gave them the right to put fluoride in 75% of people's drinking water, though?
Yeah.
That's
where's the autonomy in
my
that?
question. Yeah.
Right? If you want the fluoride, then, there are plenty of other methods to get fluoride. It is crazy how government acts like, they have this responsibility, like, oh, kids are getting cavities, so it's daddy government's job to save all of the children from the cavities. And don't worry, we'll just put it right in your drinking water because, you all can't be trusted to brush your teeth and take fluoride supplements if you want them.
Yep, that sounds like government in general, and it's clearly causing problems. Well, that's going to wrap it up for tonight's show. So that's good news coming out of the government. I'm fairly surprised that the checks and balances in the American system, at least in this case, seem to be working. The executive branch has done a thing, and the judicial branch has said, no, you can't do that. That's making people dumb, and we're not okay with that. So, wow, America's little system worked for once, and that's kind of impressive. Like, good on them for that. It's working as intended in this one particular case. But thank you for listening. You'll be hearing this next week, so obviously we'll be back the week after with a new episode. Check us out again. That's patreon.com/LRNFM. And check out the radio show. Listen to it every night this week while you still can. We're not actually making that change. I don't think I said that. We're not making that change until January the 3rd.
Oh, okay.
Yes, January the 3rd will be the last weekday episode of Free Talk Live. So, you've got some time. I realized as I was saying that it may have sounded like we were doing it this week or whatever, but no, that's actually coming on January the 3rd so that we have time to get in touch with all of the radio stations and do all of the stuff that needs to be done to make this work. In the meantime, thank you for listening. Check us out online at patreon.com/LRNFM or go directly to our website at freetalkcast.com, freetalkblog.com, or freetalklive.com. See you next week.